today on an all-new Dr. Phil.
I love video gaming. I will punch, slap, bite to get you out of my way.
She says her son is obsessed with violent video games.
Let's empty out this.
And they're making him out of control.
You have a 12-year-old child yelling, "Get in here, peasant. Bring me this," and what do?
I do it.
You're the mother here. I know what's wrong with him. My question is, what's wrong with you? Today's going to be a changing day in your life. You've never had anybody working harder to bring you to the threshold of change than right now. Long gone are the days when children lay on their bedroom floors innocently playing games that look like this. Now, 97% of teens are playing video games that look like this. And an alarming number of them are becoming addicted. Yes, that's right, addicted to video games. Games where murdering men, women, and police officers is the whole objective. Now, many experts debate whether these games are making our children more aggressive and in some instances more violent. Take a look.
Video games and your kids.
Is there a link between virtual violence and the real thing?
A new study finds a link between violent games and aggressive behavior in children.
Critics point to this, the appearance of weapons in video games, like this Remington assault rifle pictured in popular game Call of Duty.
Kids are telling us that the longer they play and the more they play aggressive games, they start thinking in an aggressive way and they have more aggressive attitudes.
The kinds of messages and images that they are putting in their minds, I think they're seeing nightly dress rehearsals for huge acts of violence.
You see video games are actually being used as a scapegoat. The problem is just the science, the data does not back up that it would actually have an effect.
Fortnite, a free video game, has generated $1 billion in revenue in just a year.
Many kids admit being obsessed with the game and playing nonstop, which has plenty of parents frustrated.
Compulsively playing too many video games now qualifies as a mental health condition by the World Health Organization. Gaming disorder covers video game addiction that leads gamers to neglect other parts of their lives.
From difficult to compulsion, if people have impaired control over gaming, give it priority over other activities, and there is a continuation or escalation of gaming despite negative consequences, they could have a mental health condition.
Well, now, Amanda has written to me 9 times about her 12-year-old nephew, Alex, who often spends up to 20 straight hours killing people in his online gaming world. Now, his mother, Jennifer, says her son's obsession with violent video gaming is not only exacerbating his numerous behavioral issues, but may be the catalyst for, in her words, becoming the next school shooter.
Please, your God. Boy! You think you hard. Here I come, this is my final time. You wasn't expecting this, boy!
My son is addicted and obsessed with violent video games.
I hear your guns.
Video games are my son's #1 priority.
He plays when he wants, where he wants, and for as long as he wants.
He has stayed on for up to 20 hours. He never comes out of his room to eat with us, but he will yell out from his room, "Peasant, bring me a plate."
Come to me immediately! I request backup immediately!
The 2 games that he really likes to play the most are Grand Theft Auto and Fortnite. He gets very excited about the number of kills because the more kills you have, the higher you go in the game. It makes him very aggressive.
Empty it!
His favorite game right now is Grand Theft Auto.
Double barrel, bitch!
It is very violent. They rob, shoot, kill, beat.
Let's empty out this.
And everything they do is demeaning to women.
Jiggly, jiggly, I'm coming for the booty.
When my nephew is playing the video games, he's very rude and disrespectful to the people that he's playing online with.
Thank you! You didn't see anything.
He plays the game online with adults, and the language that they use is absolutely horrendous.
Beep, beep. CEO coming through.
I'm gonna kill you, beat the out of you, and piss off.
And that's transferred over to his mom.
When I tell him, watch your language, he'll tell me to shut the up and
get out.
He will turn over furniture, he breaks dishes, he has basically destroyed his room.
How would you like your death to be? Death by AIDS?
These violent games have desensitized him from actual pain and death. He has been bullied. I am scared that he will take the behaviors that he's learned in the game and retaliate. He could become another school shooter.
Let's empty out this.
This is something that I feel like I could deal with in 30 seconds or 3 hours, depending on how I approach this. But if you're so desperate, why did you not write in? Why did your sister write in 9 times?
I guess I'm just complacent to it. I'm used to it.
I feel like I know what's wrong with him. My question is, what's wrong with you? You have a 12-year-old child yelling, "Get in here, peasant. Bring me this," and what do?
I do it.
You do it. He locks you out of the house in the freezing rain and holds a sign up to the window, "I will let you in if you go get me Starbucks." And you go get it. Now, come on, help me. I'm just an old country boy. You have to help me understand how this makes sense.
I've been in school for the last 18 months, and I'm gone
Good.
4 nights a week and 12-hour shifts on the weekends. And his dad has had anxiety disorder and heart issues, and so physically and emotionally, he wasn't able to handle him. And so by the time I got home from work, I work 40 hours a week as well. So by the time I got home, I'm just so tired and mentally and physically exhausted that I would just do whatever I had to do to keep the peace.
Okay, now, his dad passed away
September.
in September of last year, right? And from a heart condition, correct?
Yes.
And your son barely shed a tear, right?
Yes.
In fact, he said, "Hey, people die. Moving on."
Yes.
What do you think? I mean, you're looking at this. You're there every day. I just met you guys.
The way that he treats her is just deplorable. But I think she was crippled a little bit by her husband and the way that he kept things super secret. So she wasn't allowed to talk to me about it. She wasn't really allowed to talk to anybody about it. And so when she finally started opening up to me, and I realized, oh my goodness, like he is really cussing you out. He's really doing these things. Then that's when I wrote in originally. At that point, I thought maybe she'll kind of take control and it'll get better. And it just got worse.
Okay, well, by the way, can I flash forward for a minute and then we'll come back? Let me flash forward to the end. Help has arrived. This is going to change today. Okay? That's the good news. Now, his father, and I'm sorry for your loss, by the way, your deceased husband, he modeled this same behavior, correct?
A lot of it, yes.
Yeah, so he was abusive
Yes.
to you.
Yes.
And he demeaned you and called you names and knocked holes in the
Yes,
wall.
I mean-
He threatened you. I mean, this was not a tranquil situation.
No, not at all.
Okay, and he did this in front of your son.
Yes.
And so he modeled that for him.
Yes.
And have you heard me say that you better make your stand when they're 2, 3, or 4 years old? Because when they get 12, 13, 14, or 15, and you're looking up and not down at them, it's a whole lot different ball game.
They taught us the hug where you sit behind them and wrap your arms around them, you know, when they're in a rage to calm them down. And the very first time we tried that when he was about 4, he broke his dad's nose with his head.
So y'all had a showdown and you lost.
Daily.
Okay, next, from being stabbed by her son to him trying to burn down their house, Jennifer worries that violent video games are escalating her son Alex's already troubling behavior to frightening new heights. Is that true? We hear all of this about these games are modeling behavior that will then jump from the virtual world to the real world. Is this training future school shooters? Is this modeling behavior that jumps to the real world? We're going to talk about that and why we're in this situation after the break.
When my son was 3, he was diagnosed with ADHD and OCD. He would often get angry and just bang his head on the floor until he would almost pass out. In daycare and preschool, if he wanted a toy, he would just go to the child and take it. Yet if someone took something from him, he would lash out at them.
One time, my nephew threw a hammer at one of my daughters.
We have sent Alex to about 10 different therapists. They tell me things like to withdraw, don't speak to him, just ignore him. Well, if you do that, he'll get a knife, he'll threaten to burn something. He will do things that he knows he can get a reaction.
Jennifer says her 12-year-old son Alex's disturbing behavior started when he was just 3 years old, generally speaking. She and her sister Amanda worry Alex's obsession with violent gaming is like pouring gasoline on a smoldering fire. Take a look.
Open the door. My son has always had some behavior issues, but since he has been playing these video games, his behavior has become 10 times worse.
My nephew's behavior as demonic.
Stop, 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 stop.
My nephew has absolutely no respect for his mother.
I like your dumbass the husband.
Seriously? The kid has an iPhone 6S Plus, a brand new Dell 2-in-1 laptop, an Xbox One, everything he wants, but he's just very abusive.
Trash!
And disrespectful.
2 months ago, Alex got upset at my sister and locked her out of the house in the freezing rain. He wrote a note on a piece of paper and held it through the window that said that he would let her in if she would take him to Starbucks. She eventually took him to Starbucks.
Why are you stop? Let go of me. Let go of my shirt. Stop it.
One time he broke his father's nose.
Last year, he got angry at his father and went after him with a kitchen knife. A couple of months ago, he stabbed Jennifer with a pair of tweezers.
My son was trying to get into his dad's man cave. He gathered him some little tools up and he decided he was going to break into the door. And when I tried to get the tools away from him, he stabbed me with the tweezers. He ran outside and he picked up this gas canister, raked up a small pile of pine straw and poured the gas all over it and lit it on fire in an attempt to burn the house down. When police arrived, they asked him why did he try to do that, and he simply told them, she shouldn't have pissed me off.
You believe that these violent video games, you think he's addicted?
Yes.
And where does he work?
My nerves, mainly.
Where did he get these video games?
His dad purchased the game console and the video games.
You think he's addicted to gaming, but you've provided him gaming equipment. Do you buy the extras for the games?
He does.
And where's he get that money?
My PayPal account is on his Microsoft.
You know, I knew if I just kept asking questions, she was eventually going to give it up.
He doesn't purchase them, however, without asking first.
All right, common sense alert.
I was just trying to justify myself.
Common sense alert. This is the part where I said we could handle this in 30 seconds. Don't do that anymore. If you've got a child that you think is addicted to gaming, and I don't think he is, by the way, and you think it's going to lead him to be the next school shooter, which I don't think it is, by the way, but you think this is dysfunctional, you're the one providing him the games that you think are dysfunctional. You're buying him the extras that go along with it. You're enabling him to do this. He couldn't do it without you, and you're doing it because you're afraid he's going to beat you up or something if you don't.
Exactly.
You're the mother here. There's a real simple rule that I follow, and that is you just don't reward bad behavior. Okay? How simple is that? And he's throwing bombs at you and telling you 3 o'clock in the morning, go get me food, locking you out of the house. Come in here, peasant, and you do it. You are rewarding bad behavior.
Where do I begin to fix this? What outside? Because if I take the Xbox, then he will do his best to find my computer that I use for everything and break it. I mean,
Well, you know that ahead of time, don't you?
yes. And when I hide it, he will empty my closet looking for it. I mean, I don't know how to stop it from escalating to that point.
Well, have you given up?
Yes.
What's the point in me giving you tools? What's the point in me putting a tool belt around your waist if you're not going to use it? Next, Jennifer actually asked her son's permission just to go to the store. Plus, she admits to holding back key information from doctors she's asking for help. We'll talk about all of this after the break.
Recently, my son was in therapy for about 6 weeks, and it did not even faze him. He told me it was a complete waste of his time. That was an hour of his life he was never going to get back. I would often hold back information from the doctors about some of his meltdowns and when he stabbed me with the tweezers. His father told me not to be fully truthful because he did not want them to take him away from us. That has hurt my son in the long run. If we would have started getting more help earlier, we could have prevented getting to this point.
So you would go get help and not tell them the truth?
I would tell parts of the truth, yes. I wouldn't give them the full story.
So that's a yes. You would lie by omission?
Yes.
Now, her sister Amanda says Jennifer is so petrified of her son that she refuses to discipline him and allows her nephew to be the king of his kingdom.
Stop, 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 stop.
Jennifer doesn't discipline my nephew because she's scared of him.
In my house, my son is the boss of me. He's the adult and I'm the child. It's my phone.
I asked politely and you said yes.
I did.
I asked politely and you said yes.
My nephew just walks all over her. He thinks he's the king of the kingdom. My nephew. He makes Jennifer's life a living hell.
What the you unfavored it for?
I didn't do anything. I don't even know what I'm
Well,
doing.
it's not on there anymore.
He is in control of everything, what we eat, where we go. I find myself asking permission from him to be able to go to the store. I basically have to ask permission for just about everything that I do.
He treats my sister like a slave. If he wants my sister to pick him up food at 3 a.m., she'll leave the house and go do it.
He will come out of his room and he will tell me, "Peasant, clean my room." So I go and clean his room up. I am fearful of what my son might do to me if I try to regain control. If he feels like he has been pushed too hard, he will retaliate in a violent way.
Why are you? Stop. It's heartbreaking that she has to live this way.
Well, the good news is she doesn't have to live this way. I want to introduce somebody else to this conversation. Joining us is parenting reporter and writer Donna Tatro. Now, Donna is the founder of Caring Counts. What do you have to say?
You know, I mean, the fact of the matter is that this gaming profession is $90 billion. It's being marketed to our kids. There's not just one console. There's the iPhone, the iPad, the computer, the Xbox. So they're allowed to be on all this gaming all the time. And it really is consuming them.
You know, people don't realize, and I forget what the factor is, but if you look at how many billions of dollars are spent on movie tickets and compare that to how many billions of dollars are spent on gaming, it's hugely different. I mean, movies are a fraction of what kids today are spending on gaming.
Now that we know that the World Health Organization has said there is this diagnosis of a mental health disorder, it's kind of alert, alert, alert. To me as a parent, for sure, with two boys who are 9 and 10 years old. And I think really for all parents to just be very aware of what we're up against. Not to say there isn't some positive benefits.
And the game changed when they started adding the social component, right?
Yes.
Because now they're not just by themselves, they're interacting with other people, and there are predators that get on those video games and they get to these kids in that way. So that's one of the dangers of the social component.
Absolutely, and then you hear the language, the door should always be open. It should not be closed.
Now, let me point something out here. You say when he is with you, he doesn't behave this way.
Not at all.
What does that say to you?
He knows that he can do that to me because I don't offer those boundaries and those lines that he can't cross. They were blurred long ago.
It is within his capability
yes.
to modulate his behavior.
Absolutely.
So you say he's mentally ill. In fact, his current diagnoses, I think he's got 6 or 7 of them: obsessive compulsive disorder, attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, conduct disorder. You know, it just goes on and on. He's got all of these diagnoses, but yet when he's with his aunt, he behaves appropriately. This is one of the key things. Look at the difference between an irresistible impulse and the impulse not resisted. Both situations, there's an impulse. One, they're a passenger, they can't resist it. The other, they just choose not to. Which is it with him?
He chooses not to resist.
Yeah. So this isn't something where he has some mental illness that has rendered him out of control. He's choosing not to resist the impulse because, quote, he knows he won't get kicked out, so why not? Now, Jennifer's son, Alex, is here. He says he loves the online gaming world because he can do whatever he wants, including killing people and robbing banks. Well, we're going to meet him after the break. We'll be right back. Well, Jennifer's 12-year-old son, Alex, says he loves online gaming because anything is possible with a controller, and when it comes to his anger, he simply says, stand back, when he's ready to explode.
This is my baby, my prized possession. I love video gaming. Every day I get home, I just want to play. Oh, here I come, here I come, here I come. This is my final time. You wasn't expecting this, boy! I don't want to sound like I'm a future serial killer, but it's fun. Like when you drive a minivan through a crowd of people. Ooh, I hear your guns. I'm finna come. In the gaming world, you can get away with stuff. And so cars, you can kill people. You're going at each other full force with guns blazing. Nobody will arrest you for public indecency. And that's the good thing about online. You do what you want. You didn't see anything. Sometimes when people are acting stupid, I get mad. Double barrel, bitch! Sometimes they say some stuff that has got me banned multiple times, but I just don't care. Let's empty out this. One time, my console wasn't working. I took a rock, but I threw it at the TV.
Let go of me. Let go of my shirt. Stop it.
When somebody tries to mess with me when I get mad, I will punch, slap, hit, bite. I'll do whatever I can to get you out of my way.
Stop. What are you doing in my bathroom?
Sometimes, to release my anger, I grab a golf club and I go crazy on my door. These are the holes from where I did it. It was an argument and I just had to come in here, release my anger. At home, I kind of have free range because everybody knows. When I get that mad, you don't come over to hit me, to punish me, to silence me, because I'll hit you.
Alex, how you doing?
Good.
So your mom is concerned about your behavior at home. What is it you think she's concerned about?
Sometimes when I get angry, I do stuff.
Well, I've been watching videotape of you, and sometimes you use really bad language. You yell at her, you scream at her to get in here, peasant. You've locked her out of the house. I mean, you kind of do what you want to do, right?
Yeah.
Why is that? Why do you not do what your mother tells you to do?
She doesn't really do anything to stop me sometimes.
So you're in charge?
Most of the time, yeah.
Let's say your mom just says, okay, you're in charge, and she decides she doesn't want to do anything. Since you're in charge, what would you do?
I would cook, I would make food,
What would you cook?
Sandwiches.
Where would you get the stuff to cook a sandwich?
From the pantry.
You're going to eat that stuff up in a few days, and then it's empty. What are you going to do to get food in there?
Work.
Where are you going to work? You're 12.
I could walk dogs.
How much you get paid for walking dogs?
Maybe $5 a day.
$5
up
a,
and
huh?
use the money responsibly, you could easily make a living.
$5 a day? You know what it takes to raise a child from birth to 18?
Mm-hmm.
How much does it cost?
A lot.
Cost about $250,000. You're gonna have to walk a lot of dogs, right? So I'm just wondering, do you take her for granted?
Sometimes, yes.
Do you think that she owes it to you to provide you with like video games and a nice house and all that?
No.
Do you think that's a privilege or a right?
Privilege.
All right. I want you to think about the following words while we take a break. Commando parenting. We'll be right back.
There are guns in my sister's household.
My dad, we always go out to our yard, shoot guns. He had 75 guns when he died, 30 assault rifles, I think. It was like an Easter egg hunt. Oh, well, there's one underneath the table. Oh, well, there's one underneath the towels in the bathroom. Guess what I found? An assault rifle under the bed. Yeah, they're like everywhere. The most fun guns to shoot are the ones that kick the least and are the quietest.
I worry that when he gets into one of his rages that he may get a gun and do something crazy with it.
You play these games where you shoot people in these video games, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you're afraid that someday he might do that in the real world, right?
Yes.
How many guns are in your house?
Quite a few, but they are all locked up.
How many guns are in your house?
More than 50. My husband was a collector.
You are concerned that you have a child that might jump from virtual reality to reality and shoot people, and you have over 50 guns, including assault rifles, in your house.
Yes.
Common sense alert.
That is something that we're trying to deal with. Those all were my husband's. You can't just...
What kind of car do you have?
A Chevy Trailblazer.
There you go. Back her up to the garage. Open the tailgate while he's at school. Load them all in there. Go down to the gun shop. Have that guy come outside, take an inventory, and walk away with a hat full of money and no guns. Okay? Now, I mentioned commando parenting because we have to go back to basics, which I mentioned before, and basics are we don't reward bad behavior. Bad language from a 12-year-old is bad behavior. Violence is bad behavior. So we know he can behave well because he does when he's with you, right? Okay, so we know he can do it, but we start from zero. And here's what listen, I've worked with Child Protective Services for years, and here's what you're required to do. You're required to provide him a stable, safe environment. That means warm, dry, food, medical, academics, a room with a bed and a blanket and a pillow would be nice. It doesn't require posters on the wall, television, video games, computers. Those are all privileges. And if he wants those things, he earns them a step at a time. And the commitment to commando parenting is really, really important. It's total immersion commitment or you'll sabotage the plan. Must have whatever it takes mentally, 100% consistent with consequences. It's kind of akin to an intervention. You've got to create and keep a unified front with family members, anybody that's helping. You must be willing to shake things up. That means you got to change the whole situation here. The most important mission of your life has got to be to turn this thing around. I'm going to talk about exactly what I mean and where this begins after the break. Okay, Okay, Jennifer admits that she has done little to control her son's, Alex, what she calls video game obsession or addiction and bad behavior. She says she's ready to change, but is she really? Are you willing to do what I'm talking about?
I am.
If I get you help to do it, I don't think you can do it on your own.
No, that was I'm willing to do whatever I have to, but I just need to know how to handle what happens when the situation goes badly.
When you choose the behavior, you choose the consequences. I mean, if he decides that he wants to be oppositional, if he wants to be a hard guy, then you've got to be prepared to do whatever it takes to get control of your home. And look, there's all this stuff about, does playing violent video games translate to violence in the real world? The answer is no. There's absolutely no research whatsoever that suggests that playing violent video games translates to violent behavior in life. It just doesn't. And they say that there's an addiction. Playing video games does light up neurological pathways to the pleasure centers. So does a dip of ice cream. Whether you call it addiction at a neurological level or not, it is clearly dysfunctional to the extent that he's doing it and he is modeling bad behavior. Are you willing to stop this?
Yes.
Because when I say shake things up, you got to go home and get control of this situation, and there's no way you're going to be able to do that. You won't stop unless she makes you stop. So you go home, he's got these controllers that he's playing, you go home, get your hammer, and take those controllers, you see that? There, knock yourself out. That is exactly what you have to do to get this under control. It has to stop right now and you go back to zero. Are you prepared to go to this level to get this under control?
As long as...
Because you know what? You do this, how much time is he going to spend playing a video game?
None.
Zero. Problem solved. Now, do you want this to happen?
No.
What are you willing to do to keep that from happening?
Anything.
Because if she listens to me, this is exactly what's going to happen if you don't straighten up. And you may bully her. You may bully her, but you're not going to bully us. And I think you're really selling yourself short, because I think you're an intelligent young man, and I think you can do this and have a great amount of fun. But you need to behave better. You're better than this. And you know that, because you told me. You said, I only do this because I know I can get away with it. You said that, right? So you know you can do better. And wouldn't you be more proud if you did that?
Mm-hmm.
Well, is Jennifer willing to do what she has to, and what kind of help does she need? We're going to talk about that when we come back. By the way, what are you good at besides video games?
Cooking.
Yeah, what do you cook? What kind of things?
Biscuits from scratch, pies from scratch, cakes from scratch.
Great. Yeah. Do you enjoy doing that?
Yes.
Look, here's the thing. We can do this easy, we can do it hard. Joining us is James McManus. Now, the owner and founder of an organization called Family First. And Family First is a residential treatment center. And this is a program that's designed to help adolescents that are struggling with a range of emotional behaviors. And it can be everything from substance and processing disorders, anything that is really getting them off the track that they deserve to be on, that give you a chance to hit the reset button and do what's necessary to get on the right track. And James, you've been listening to what we've been talking about. What are you thinking and seeing here?
there's just this intense rage that comes from Alex, and Jennifer, you don't know how to handle or receive that. So rather than fight, you just give in. So our program is really designed for folks like you to, as Dr. Phil said, help push the reset button here and get the boundaries back to where they need to be, where Alex is the child and Jennifer is the parent.
You've had problems with emotional modulation since he was 3 years old. His father recently passed. I don't think I agree with all of these diagnoses. I know I don't agree with the 20 medications. There's been a lot that needs to be unraveled here, but you have to change as well, because you've got to get back to being the adult and let him get back to being the child. Are you willing to participate in this solution?
Yes.
I have great confidence that you're going to do very, very well and get back to being happy and getting along with your mother very well. And I'm going to expect you to make me a pie when this is all done, okay? All right. Thank you. I want to thank all of my guests today, and a special thanks to Donna Tatro. I also want to thank James McManus and Family First for offering resources to Jennifer's son. If you have a question about me, you can go to drphil.com, and don't forget you can follow me on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and don't forget to subscribe to my new podcast called Fill in the Blanks. This week, Kathy Bates joins me and reveals some really interesting things about her life, acting, and working on American Horror Stories. What do you do when you're just hanging out?
Besides watching you. Dr. Phil's newest podcast is available now.
My mother said when I was born, the doctor smacked me on my behind, and I thought it was applause, and I've been looking for it ever since.
This sweet woman can get scary. She sometimes scares the living you-know-what out of herself.
You think American Horror Story is scary? I just went berserk.
You can find it on Apple Podcast or Stitcher. That's PHIL in the blanks. You'll find it anywhere podcasts are. It's right at the top because you guys have made it #1. Thank you very much. We'll see you next time.